Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Semi Perfect. What's in the bag?
I brought a co-host.
Help.
Yeah.
Perfection is within my hands. Or grass. Damn it, I almost had it right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you might have noticed we have a special guest with us. Please, introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm CK. I'm an old friend of M. Play a few games with these two fellas.
Yep.
We're sorry.
I've known CK since grade 1. So we go way back. And this bastard is pretty much the reason why we're doing this episode.
That's a good episode.
It is. Oh, yeah.
Yep. I pretty much introduced him to a lot of animes. Many of them has been his favorite over the years.
I don't know how he does that.
And this anime is one of them.
It's one of his mysterious powers.
This is literally my favorite anime I've watched. And, oh, it's so good. So very, very good.
So, before we go rambling on, I forget to introduce what the actual title of the show is.
Right.
Semi Perfect Code Geass. Geass?
Yeah.
Goose?
Geass.
Geass.
Geass is how it's usually pronounced.
I don't know, it's just one of those funny words when you read it.
It's more or less, is it Irish or?
I believe it's Irish, yes.
I
Yeah, I
couldn't
think
tell you.
so.
It basically means an unbreakable pact with somebody.
Yeah,
Or
a vow. Or
Yeah,
the con-
yeah. It's often described as a magical contract. Like, if you break this, more than just dishonor on your family, more on the lines of you might implode.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
No, so never break a Geass.
Alright, well, this is one of those more, I want to say, developed worlds of anime.
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, something like Dragon Ball Z does have its developments, but this is all about the developments.
Yeah, this is a very politically driven show.
That's a word for it.
with giant fighting robots just thrown in there.
Which, you know, on top
With
of the main
rollerblades.
that is literally my only problem with the mecha.
Well, I like the rollerblades.
Isn't there a name for what they call that?
Yes, I don't remember off the top of my head.
They're pretty much on rollerblades. I'm sorry, that's really what they are on.
And
Yeah.
you can't forget the Slash Harkins.
I'm waiting for one to grind down the side of a building.
One does.
Oh yeah, it is rollerblading.
Didn't two of them like fight each other and they were both rolling down the building at the same time?
Yeah,
Or bouncing each other?
some of them even like roll down each other's like the Slash Harkins, their harpoon cable thingamajigs.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see one Sonic the Hedgehog grind down that, and you're like.
I forgot about that.
And here's the thing: as I said, the wheels are my only problem. They're a problem with like, oh hey, I got chunky peanut butter instead of regular peanut butter.
Oh well.
Oh well, I'm going to enjoy this anyway.
Yeah, why don't you take a brief history, because this is where I understand it when I'm watching it, but when I'm trying to explain to someone, it kind of goes south in some places.
How deep do you want this history to be? Because I can go really deep.
Let's leave some mystery. Let's go at least like somewhere in the middle. Like, more than the
Okay,
surface, but not to the point we're rambling for 3 years.
This is an alternate timeline of Earth. It's the same general. It takes place now-ish, but technology is different-ish. England got its ass handed to it, so it left the UK to go live in the royal family lived with the safety in the Americas, which never declared independence from the UK.
Yeah, just to clarify, the Queen and that actually died in the battle against Napoleon.
And that was it. Yes.
And that's all a lot of the royal elites left, retreated to America.
Yeah.
That includes Canada and US, which
Yeah.
wasn't existing at the time.
No, they were still colonies of the British monarchy. The new capital of the Britannian Empire is Pendragon, which is somewhere in like northern U.S., southern Canada.
Okay.
But yeah, technology is very different, and when the show starts, the world is divided into 3 major empires: the Britannian Empire, the EU, and China. That's it. It's just those three. There are other places, and Britannia is still doing the whole British monarchy expansionism.
Yep, even though they don't have control of Britain.
No, Britain is part of the EU. I think it's French.
I'm not sure. I never watched the OVA.
Now the OVA doesn't really talk about that much.
Oh, okay.
Now, since we're discussing pretty much the breakup of land for the most part,
yeah,
dividing that, you also divide the people in a sense.
Yes, the Britannians classify each place they conquer with a number.
Mm-hmm.
Japan is Area 11. The people of Japan are just referred to as the 11s by the true Britannians.
Okay, now this just might be a random number, but is anybody referred to in the show as a 7, or does that number just pop in my head for some weird reason?
I don't know. That number pops in my head too whenever I think of Code Geass. I don't remember why.
Okay, so it's not just me when you think Code Geass. For some reason, the number 7 pops up.
Eh.
I'm just saying. I just want to make sure it wasn't just something I was thinking off on.
Maybe we're both crazy on the same wavelength.
Weirder things have happened.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, our main character is... What position is he in the royal family?
I don't know, but let's save him for last, because there's a lot to go over with him.
Okay.
I think it was like around position 13. He was a prince of the royal family, by the way.
Yeah.
And he was like 13 or some high number in line.
We'll leave it that he has noble blood. Let's leave it there for the moment.
Sure.
Because I think working from the bottom up might be better, because the main character has a lot to discuss about him.
Oh, yes. He is glorious.
Who is that soldier guy that had that they recruited? Can't think of his name.
That does not narrow it down.
No. He was like Japanese.
Suzaku?
No, not Suzaku. He means the
Total?
Toho, yes.
Thank you. Him I liked.
Yeah, he was one of the last stands for Japan's defense against Britannia.
Mm-hmm. And he is a steadfast believer in the samurai code if I've ever seen it.
I liked him. He was a good minor character. I preferred his mech to Zangetsu.
Yeah, the mech. Here's the funny thing: like they have this. Actually, I'll do that next with the mechs. But each person within this list of the main characters is going to have their own unique individual mech. We'll mention that now.
If they're not a mech pilot, they're either associated with mechs or they are just associated with a battleship, usually, or they're just a civilian.
Which is that reporter guy who I think it's out of this goddamn gourd.
Oh yeah, D-Hart.
Yep.
And his name is weird.
Look, a lot of the names are weird, but I also love a lot of the names. Like, there's one image I saw once of the most Britannian name ever. It's like a noble name, a noble name, and a noble name. And
Look,
he's just a knight.
Everyone else's name seems fine to me in certain extents, but D. Hart. What? Who was it reporting for also? I forget that.
Oh, just a Britannian TV station that's in Area 11.
Because out of all the characters, I think he was one of the ones that are most out of his rocker. Like, what the hell?
He's a story junkie. He needs his next fix on an amazing story.
Yeah, I don't think crackheads go for crack that hard.
Well,
even if it means manipulating the news to his own favor.
Yeah.
Create his own story.
Yep.
I'm just saying, I think the guy has a couple of screws loose.
Oh, yeah. He's hilarious to watch, though.
I can't argue that, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially the story of Code Geass is watching Area 11's fight for independence against Britannia and them getting dragged into the whole war of everything.
Mm-hmm. And some of these people enjoy willingly because they're already part of a resistance, such as Karen, I think it's...
Colin,
thank you. I'm sorry, I always go with the R.
You're right as well, because she has two names.
Yeah.
One for when, because she is part Britannian and part 11, or Japanese.
Yes.
So she uses a different name for each culture.
Mm-hmm. Because her father is a noble Britannian, she's allowed to go to a noble school by denouncing her 11 heritage, but she would much rather denounce her Britannian heritage.
Which is why she joins the resistance.
Yep.
And she fakes being sickly and weak at the school, too.
Yep.
Because I do
And
remember
honestly-
that was a thing to help give her cover when out and about.
Yeah, she's actually a pretty decent actress.
With the right roles, yes.
Yep. She's also, I think, everyone's here favorite girl.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I like the other main female a lot, but I like her more as a incarnation of Loki, I want to call her.
She even has green hair to go around.
Yeah, she does. Very Loki color.
Yeah, we'll introduce her in a moment. I want to save her for just before the main character.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Consider the fact that these two kind of lead it off like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. But essentially, if you're not interested in finding out the definition of what is rebellion versus what is terrorism, this is not a good show for you.
Yeah, this show really digs into both of those.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things the hero does in this story is downright terroristic.
Look, I'm just going to say now, I don't think there's really a hero in this show as just main characters.
Yeah, that is fair.
Like,
A lot of people compare this show to Death Note because both follow a main character who is on the gray side of morality.
Yeah.
And both of the main characters of Death Note and Code Geass are, to quote DC, like 10th level intellects.
So I would argue that the main character of Koki is more towards good than the main character of Death Note.
I would also argue that he's less of a sociopath than Death Note's main character.
I
Death
will
Note's-
agree to that, but I also like to point out that both of them have the similarity of power helping push them over certain ledges they never would have crossed otherwise.
I actually would argue against that because several times the main character Lucius said, if I didn't have these powers, I still would have done this. This just made it easier to start it.
Well, it's
Yeah,
easy to
it was
claim
fast.
that, and we can't prove that otherwise. But we can at least point out that the power, at least in some way making it easier, helped motivate that decision at the least.
Yes, yeah, I'll agree with that.
I mean, I'm not saying that whether or not either character would or would not have been able to do said decision, but with said power, making something easier, and you've already done it, you can look back and say, I would have done it anyway. That's something you can easily say.
That's true, but Lelouch's personality and his driving motivations pretty much state that he was going to do something.
I can agree to that, but the key word you just said there, Em, is something.
That is fair.
Now,
That is
I would say that Death Note's protagonist, or antagonist, whichever way you look at him,
yeah.
his power kind of defines him in the end.
Yes, it does.
Whereas Lelouch,
can
on the
easily
other
see it.
hand, it's just using his power. It doesn't exactly define him. As you said, he would have done this anyway. It would have taken him longer and be much more difficult for him, but he would have still gone through all this.
He would have still gone through his revenge. He probably just wouldn't have become a terrorist at the same time.
Yeah, I think he would have had to try and be a bit more sneakier about it, but still be
Yeah.
the terrorist, but be the more unknown one.
He wouldn't go around dramatically standing around on moving cars while having dozens of robots aiming at him and holding up detonators for bombs.
Yeah. Which even with his power, that's still a stupid idea.
I know, but my God, he is so showmanship.
Yeah, he...
We should.
Should we explain a little bit about him first before we keep rambling on, or move on to another character?
Let's
back.
explain the person who actually gets this plot going, and that would be the character known as CC or C2.
Now, do we ever actually learn her real name?
No,
Okay, just wanted to check, see if it was just something I missed.
she's an ancient witch, and by ancient witch I mean from like the Middle Ages.
Yeah, somewhere around that time frame, a long time before this series
And
took off.
Essentially, she's immortal, and I guess the best way of describing her, she's also death-seeking.
Now, is she immortal, as in she's not going to die no matter what you do to her, or is she just immortal as an old age ain't going to kick her off this planet?
She's been killed several times in the show, and she gets back up.
I
Yeah.
wasn't fully remember that, so I was double checking.
But yeah, one Al, who's obsessed with her, wanted to chop her up into tiny pieces so he could carry her away, because he knew she'd reform.
Yeah, she was going to do it with
That's
a
a little
chainsaw.
creepy.
Put her in a suitcase and fly away.
Yep. Because, that won't raised suspicions of why is that suitcase leaking blood.
Well, that's what the X-ray machines are for.
You know, I don't even think they have X-ray machines in the Code Geass universe.
Yeah, you don't know.
We never see them.
We didn't see a lot of things in Code Geass, actually.
No, we don't. We do see a lot of the weird.
I never see the gas station.
Like, they don't. I believe they don't have nukes, at least at the start of the show.
No, they don't at the start of the show.
Well, no, they're too busy with the giant robots. What do they need nukes for?
They prove why they need nukes at the end of season 2.
No. See, they made nukes in between season 1 and season 2, realizing they need it.
Yeah, they did.
Until then, there were no nukes.
Yeah, they did because one girl became obsessed with destroying Zero.
You got to be a bit more specific on that one.
I know, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, C2 is the one who gives the main character his abilities. She nudges him in places. She protects him.
She loves pizza.
Oh, that's don't we all?
I didn't say that was a bad thing.
No, her Japanese fan nickname is Pizza Chan, and because of a deal in Japan where Pizza Hut sponsored this show, she gets the Japanese Pizza Hut mascot Pizza-kun as a plushie she carries around with her often. Like at one point, like everything she owns is basically destroyed, but she still manages to salvage her Pizza-kun.
Well, of course.
And there's plenty of Pizza Hut advertisements in the background if you're paying attention.
Yep, but in the North American version, they had to whitewash it because we had to just blanket this because we don't have a sponsorship with Pizza Hut because Pizza Hut did not want to sponsor a show about terrorism in North America.
Yeah. And there was even 2 episodes involving giant pizzas.
Yeah, I know. Like, we are painting Code Geass as this grim, dark, serious show, but it is so levity at places. Like, there's an episode where they halt the plot to make a giant pizza.
Well, when you call the main character Lulu, there's going to be some levity.
Yeah. They use a giant robot to toss a giant pizza dough.
Well, what else are you going to use it for?
Hang on, I'll think of something else you can do with a giant robot.
Make a bigger robot.
Tie a giant pretzel.
Make a bigger bot. Then use that bot to build an even bigger bot.
Yeah. But I guess we should finally get to our main character. The man who wears how many masks in this show?
Too many?
Not enough.
I'm going to be the weird guy and say, just enough.
Well, you two can be wrong, that's fine.
Lelouch Britannia. Lelouch V. Britannia.
Doesn't he have like 3 different names just for that alone?
Getting to that. Also known as Lelouch Lamperouge.
Ah, that was it.
And his most prevalent name, Zero. But, okay, essentially he is a disowned prince who was sent to Japan as a political tool before they invaded Japan. And he was supposed to be killed, so rather than, go back to the Empire and say, hey, I wasn't killed, he decides, I will hide here in Japan. You know what the perfect identity is? I'll use my first name and my mother's last name. That is literally the only dumb thing he does, in my opinion.
How was he not found out?
It's
there was another family who lost a bit of their prestige.
Yes.
And they've been trying to hide him.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's also kind of hinted the Emperor always knew where he was. Never outright said, because apparently he's the Emperor's favorite son.
I want to believe that one because I don't think there's any other way he's hiding with using his mother's last name.
But then it leads to one of those things of, if the Emperor has him as a favorite son, why did he almost bomb the crap out of him?
Tough love?
I guess. The Emperor is...
Well,
I love you! Blow up!
Well, we were getting to spoiler territory if we went and try to explain that part.
Yeah, fair enough. So we'll try not to spoil that. But Lelouch, reason why he was disowned is his mother was...
do not step on that.
His mother was gunned down by assassins in the royal palace. He gets mad, goes to his father and demands, do something about this. And the Emperor's like, you don't tell me what to do, I'm the fucking Emperor! Get out of my house! So Lelouch forever holds a great hatred toward his father, who was never there for him, and the one time he asked anything of his father, he doesn't care about the death of his wife. To be fair, the Emperor has like what 10 wives?
Well, probably 13 or more.
Mm. The chain of suggestion goes in the family whoever was born first, not whoever is the first wife. So, the second prince has a different mother than the first prince and the first princess, but because she was born third, she's third in line. So Lelouch was the 13th one born out of all of his wives.
Doesn't Lelouch have a little sister that he's...
Yeah, she's like 15th in line.
Because he also... Doesn't he also start all this for his little sister?
Yeah, he basically is pissed at his father. His sister is crippled and blind because of the assassination attempt on his mother. The successful attempt. And he wants a world where she can just be... His sister is basically the sweetest thing in the show. Like, she doesn't want anyone fighting. She's very kind, but because she's blind and in a wheelchair, she's very unable to help people, but that doesn't stop her from trying.
Yep.
Like, she is, like, so pure and noble. Like,
Why don't I just see her walk over to her brother with a newspaper she found? I just smack him with the newspaper and say, no, bad big brother.
She would. That would be as violent as she would get to him.
No, I'm just saying, I just had this funny image of... I'm not trying to insult anybody, but the wheel-bound sister walking over, fighting Lelouch, the man in charge of a rebellion, and just smacking with a newspaper.
That's one of the reasons why he keeps that secret from her. Because he's very much aware that she won't approve of this.
At least he knows about it.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I like Lelouch far more than Kira from Death Note. Because he keeps... I actually think Lelouch is smarter than Kira, but because he's more emotionally driven, like, if his sister's involved, he stops thinking. Mm-hmm. Which makes him far more relatable, in my opinion.
And he's done that multiple times, unfortunately.
It is his giant weakness, and true villains do take advantage of this when they can.
Yep.
Yeah. And he does overcome it throughout the series a bit.
Yeah, he does. He eventually realizes that I can know... He stops doing it for his sister and realizes that I've gone so far, I might as well keep going for the world. Which is heroic, but he's still brainwashing people en masse. So...
Yeah, but at the same time, he's also feeling the emotion that at this point his sister is, while able to forgive him, he couldn't forgive himself from the views of his sister. So
yeah, that is.
I mean, he's using his head more, yes, but it's emotional driven thought in a sense.
Yeah, and that always makes a character relatable, even if they're like, way too freaking smart. But yeah, Lelouch ends up... I don't even know why he ends up saving C2. It's just something he does completely out of character.
If I remember right, he came across her by mistake and was caught up in the issue.
Yeah, but he still went to investigate a car crash, which is not something that really feels in character him. It's like almost something drew him to this.
Well, it's kind of character because he does care about other people.
Yeah.
There was a car crash, and he felt obligated to try to figure out if there was anyone injured or anything. Which then he fell into, well, it was actually a big truck, and he was going over the top of it. He fell into it. And then the truck picked up, started moving with him inside of it, and C2 was in with this container.
Yeah, because remember they found him with C2, and when they were in that, and they were stuck pretty much being seen side by side, that's when she offered him power.
Yeah. And she gives him the power of the king. If he looks you in the eye, he can give you one command, that you must follow the king's one command. And it could be anything from kill yourself to I am your master.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the things he does, which is very Kira-like, is he experiments with his power. Like, I don't know the exact limitations of it, because this didn't come with a manual. So he tries things like commands a girl to every single day at noon put a chalk mark on a wall. And every day she tries to do it for the rest of her life. Even when she moves far away from that wall, she still tries for like an hour to walk to the school to mark it.
Now, there are, per se, a limitation on that, as M stated.
Yeah. The first limitation is it works once.
Yes.
He cannot make you give you 2 orders.
Second, it has to be direct eye contact. Glasses will block this.
Not all glasses, like a computer screen will block it, but if a pair of visible glasses on your face won't block it unless they're like tinted, I think.
Yeah. And
Actually, I'm pretty sure sunglasses block it.
That's tinted glasses.
Yeah.
But reading glasses wouldn't block it.
Nah.
And a strong will can delay it for probably for like a minute.
Yep.
But that's about it. They will eventually give in.
Or if the command is that against a person's personality.
Yeah, that got into a
Like
huge
if
mess.
he ordered you, Soul, to never love pizza ever again, you would give in, but the entire rest of your life you would feel a guttural reaction of why you don't like pizza. You should like pizza.
Kill him!
You also don't really realize he did it. While you're in the trance, you're in the trance, so you kind of can't remember him.
Yeah, there's a bit of a memory block. It's
Yeah.
including the part where he hypnotizes you, or
And a little bit before, actually, too.
Yep.
Like the last 10 seconds before he hypnotizes you, your mind is a blank. Like, I remember talking to I think it was a school kid? What did he look like? He had black hair and no, that's all I remember.
Now
You were
just
talking-
picture a composite sketches going to like every soldier imaginable and just have to draw one piece at a time.
All I can think of is that joke from Dragon Ball Z Abridged where they did that composite sketch for Cell, which is Freddy wearing Jason's mask with Michael Myers' body. And then they're like, okay, that is way off.
With the It's shoes.
I don't know. They didn't only did a torso up, but yeah, probably the It shoes. And for some reason, Ash Evil did jeans.
With a mohawk. Why a mohawk?
No,
Why not?
There was no hair, but yeah, let's go. Let's add a mohawk to that old Dragon Ball Z Bridge picture. But Lelouch ends up commandeering a resistance faction, renaming them the Black Knights.
And giving them all black clothing.
Yeah, which, you know...
Where did the funding for all this come from again?
mind control.
Mind control.
All right.
Like, he would probably just, go to one of the staunchest nobles in Area 11 who hates rebellion so much, brainwash him, and then have him publicly fund rebellions just to besmirch him.
Either that or
And
win it in a game of chess.
Yes, that's
That
another
too.
thing. Chess is a big thing in this show, and the nobles will gamble on chess. And Lelouch is such a genius. Like, he's introduced winning a chess game as a proxy for somebody else who is already losing. Like, you are one move away from checkmate. Lelouch looks at the clock, looks at the board. I'll win 3 moves. And the noble's like, what? That makes no sense. You can't defeat me. My attack is perfect. Checkmate.
You start with a king.
Yeah, Lelouch has a saying, like, if the king does not lead, how does his people follow him? Or variations of that.
By
And he
walking
always-
backwards.
He always moves his king first, or at least as soon as he can. And that's why he puts himself on the front line in almost every situation, despite the fact that he is... I want to say a king on a chessboard would be more useful in combat than him. At least at the start of the show.
Okay.
There's a scene where everyone is chasing a cat, including the woman in very high heels, and Lelouch has a head start over her. She passes him. She just
Easily.
and he's like,
Yeah, our main character isn't that aesthetic.
It's a
No,
good thing
he
he
is-
pilots a robot.
even then, he's not a great robot pilot.
No, but
Like,
he stands a better chance in that robot than he does on the hand-to-hand combat.
Yes, his ultimate robot apparently cheats the fuck for him.
Hey, if you
makes
can't win the honorable way, cheat.
Well, yeah, that's Lelouch's way. He'll cheat whenever the fuck he wants. Which is often. Like, this is an important duel between characters. I'm just gonna cheat.
Yep.
Good dog. Hi, Karma.
Hi.
Good girl.
But, I guess we should probably talk about...
The politics.
Yeah,
Because you really can't mention Lelouch without going into the politics.
yeah.
He's
Lelouch is-
that set in them.
Yeah. The Empire's philosophy is basically Darwinism, Like, they worship Darwinism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lelouch's personality is kind of on the lines of justice,
Yeah.
but more on the lines of violent Batman justice. Like, the ends justify the means, and if you have to do an evil deed to stop evil, do the evil deed.
Yeah, it's kind of very open about where everybody's politics are.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if it means killing your own family.
Yeah, and Lelouch has no problem with that. And so does the other character we forgot to mention, the rival, I guess you want to call him?
The best friend?
Let me tell you about my best friend. He tried to shoot me.
I made him survive.
Yeah. Suzaku Kururugi. Yeah, Suzaku Kururugi. Lelouch's former, current, forever best friend enemy.
He tried to kill me. I made sure he survives everything.
Yeah. Suzaku was the Prime Minister of Japan's son. He stabbed his dad because he thought if he killed his father, it would end the war and people would stop suffering.
It's almost like one person alone can't stop a war.
It's almost like that's not how suffering works, kid.
Well, he was a kid at the time.
I know, but it's like, you're a smart kid. How did you not realize that's how the world works?
What moral lessons were you teaching your son again, you idiot?
Pretty much, yeah. So Suzaku lives with survivor's guilt his entire life.
Yeah. Rich,
guilt.
can I point out something?
Sure.
Yeah, when he was a kid, he believed that the ends justified the means, it seems, because he killed his father.
Yeah.
But after seeing what happened with how everyone's still suffering, his philosophy changed. And that to have that the means didn't justify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a slight demeanor, yes, because...
No, that's literally what happened.
Well, in a moment. Sure. In a slight meaning, it almost reminds me of Yuri and Flynn. One was trying to change it from within the system.
Yeah, from Tales of Hysteria. Yeah, that's...
Mm-hmm. And the other one was changing it from without of the system, from the outside of the system.
Yeah.
In a sense, his way of doing it changed, but his process of not wanting people to not suffer had not.
No, he's very bleeding heart.
Mm-hmm.
He joined the Italian military.
Yep.
Afterwards, and tried to change it in.
Yeah, and because of his if Lelouch has no physical skills, Suzaku has all of them.
And is not an idiot.
No, he's not an idiot, but he's not a genius like Lelouch, but he is ridiculously overpowered in places. He is also famous for his spin kick, which is why some people refer to him as Spinzaku. Where he jumps and does this ridiculous, like, I want to say 480 spin.
Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we forgot to mention. Everybody in this show, unless obese, is a freaking stick.
Yeah, that's just the art style.
That's the clamp art style for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I just think it's funny just calling them all sticks.
They are basically sticks. I call them noodle arms because at one point someone's holding a character off a ledge because they fell off, and their arm is 4 or 5 times longer than it should be. So there's an animation of someone extending the arm even further.
But yeah, clamp artwork usually has that style to it. Though I've seen it even worse in some animes.
Well, I think they make it even worse with some of the clothing where it does like that bell-bottom effect, where it's like wider at the end.
Yeah, there's also Zero's dramatic posing. Sometimes it looks like he's got like an additional elbow in his arm.
Not to mention when he closes that cape, I don't think there's anything in that cape.
Yeah, it's like he closes the cape and then his shoulders just sink into him, like he's some sort of transformer. But yeah, Suzaku and Lelouch end up at each other's throats throughout most of the show, but for a while, unaware.
The only person that doesn't realize is Suzaku for a while.
Yeah, mostly because he's not a genius.
No.
Yeah.
But when he does figure things out, oh god, does he take everything personal, Lelouch.
Yeah, I think that's one of Suzaku's biggest problems, and part of his character is that he takes things way too personal.
Well, it did kind of became personal when he found out because what happened just beforehand.
Yeah, Lelouch kind of
caused an international incident. Leave it there.
Yeah, let's leave it there. Except for I'm just gonna say this: Princess Terminator is still really weird to watch, but also awesome. Like that was difficult to watch for the right reasons. Difficult to watch, but also when you come out of it, your brain can go. That was still pretty weird to see a lady in a princess dress with a machine gun like that.
I watched that twice. Once as a normal person, once just enjoying the mayhem.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best way to do that.
I watched it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I've
You
watched it.
sick bastard.
I've watched it half a dozen times. But yeah, this is.
I mean, not to go too far into that, but that international incident was really the start of the full-blown war.
Pretty much,
way.
yeah.
Because
that's where everything goes, Fubar.
Yeah, because up until then, it was a rebellion / steps into terrorism.
Then it became justified rebellion, in a sense. And after that, they have to go on. Well, there's a pause between this, but after that, the next thing they really do is go large.
Yeah, because here's the thing: me and Em discussed this in. I don't know if it'll be up before this one, or I'll be posting this up beforehand, just because we have CK with us, and my work schedule has not been the kindest thing as of yet. But we talked about terrorism and rebellion in the Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Yeah.
Because that show and this show are prime examples of...
Well, they're both Sunrise shows.
Yeah, of the gray area of the two.
Yeah.
Rebellions, more times than not, try to leave the bystanders alone.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are just trying to live the day-to-day. They have not technically done anything wrong besides living in your land. But the reason they're living there is because maybe their country is forcing them there. There's a gray area there, but generally, if you're not harming them, you're not usually targeted.
Yeah.
Terrorism doesn't give a shit.
No.
They will target anyone and anything to get their goals done politically, religiously, or some other excuse they can come up with.
And the reason why it's called terrorism because they do these tactics to terrify people into getting what they want.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not just targeting the government or whatever other organization is opposing them. They're targeting the people around them as well.
Essentially, they're trying to take the world hostage.
Mm-hmm. Which, it's all a matter of perspective from both ends as well, because a rebellion can easily be called a terrorist if they're taking hostages, but if the hostages are, say...
just political figures.
Yeah, I mean, for the lack of a better example, let's just say I took Hitler hostage.
The Nazis would call you a terrorist.
Exactly.
The world would call you heroes.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, if I had a chance, I wouldn't be taking Hitler hostage. I'd already pull the trigger.
I would just strangle the guy.
I wouldn't waste the time.
I would want to see him suffer slowly.
Well, tell you what, you choke him, and just before he dies, I'll shoot him.
Overkill's fine too.
Yeah, there you go. They don't
Chris,
call
you're allowed
double
to
tapping
give
for
me-
no reason.
I'll fire an extra bullet as well.
Chris, I would prefer if you ran over while I'm choking him and kicking him in the balls a few times.
I got it. I'll strangle him. You shoot him with the Black Widow.
Head goes everywhere.
I'll have to remember to wear a smock.
Oh, I'll hit him with a Slash Harkin and then drag him.
Before we go drag it off. But that's basically how rebellionism and terrorism in some cases can work. It's a matter of perspective and where you stand.
Yeah. So really, you can, if someone told you this is a show about terrorists, not arguing. If they told you this is a show about rebellion, they're not arguing. It's literally called The Loose of the Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
now
that comes down to your own personal.
Yeah. Now between you two, does Alush become a terrorist?
Yes.
And where was that point? Now, you could say it was at the international incident, but I can't count that because that was not intentional. That was a huge mistake.
Yes, he is a terrorist. In his first introduction, he holds the crowd hostage,
Yep.
not just government officials. So
Yep.
that fits the definition.
And if that doesn't fit for you, when he bombs a mountain to attack a military base and ends up causing a mudslide, killing hundreds of people in a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, he does. For the right reasons,
Debatable. I think that's also one of the other things that are hugely debatable about this.
I will say by the end of the show, he has redeemed himself in my mind.
He didn't really need to redeem himself, in my opinion.
That's also fair. Like,
He didn't
What I
want
mean-
redemption.
he didn't want redemption, no. But my opinion is, at the end of the show, I'm like, your ends have justified your means because of your final choice. Before that, you were just a lovable rogue who went too far.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you can't see the redemption in him or you refuse to, we can't argue that either. There was
No.
a lot done by the end of this show.
Yes, he done a lot of evil things, but for the greater good.
And
Yeah. He's a great example of the path to hell is paved in good intentions.
yeah, he paved it 20 times.
He's also a great example of hubris is a real thing.
But he didn't really lead them to hell. Instead, he
He
made
does.
the world better. At least
He led him-
until the movie comes out.
Yeah, we have no idea how that movie's going to be. I'm still hyped for it though.
But as I was saying, whether or not he found redemption for himself is up to debate slightly.
Yep.
Well, I don't think he was trying to redeem himself. So
No, he
Well-
wasn't trying to, but whether or not he did or not for you is what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Because and even if whether or not he wanted it, things can had happen whether or not you want them to or not. So if he found personal redemption, that's also up for debate. Whether or not he wanted it
Yeah.
isn't the point. You can find redemption and not even go looking for it in some cases.
Yeah.
But if you can't see the redemption, you're not in the wrong because in
No.
a certain aspect, it's the
He has killed hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people.
yeah.
Well,
So-
he got what he wanted in the end.
Yes.
He started out for what his goals in mind, and he got it in the end.
Yep.
Mhm. That I
Which-
won't argue. In the end, he did acquire everything he set out for.
Yep.
Yep.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Whereas Hisaku, on the other hand, was very different. It seemed he tried to change the organization within by using good means, but eventually he realized that wouldn't work in that society.
Yeah, that society was,
Yeah,
Too
they had
far
the
gone.
cards too stacked against him for that to work.
which is a shame. But he also ended up getting something he wanted too in the end.
Yeah, so Geass kind of becomes an argument whether does the means justify the end, and should you try to do like?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah. That is very correct, CK.
Yeah, it's Suzaku had the case of it's better to try than to never make the
Then you-
attempt.
Yeah. And he tried.
And again, another circumstance, Suzaku himself wasn't wrong either.
No. In most shows, Suzaku would have been the character we followed.
And probably would have had the things fall into his lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suzaku is literally the protagonist of another show.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way yet.
Lelouch is to show their Sunrise likes the right things. This is basically what if we follow Char instead of Amuro from original Gundam? Because
You know,
both
that
Char,
actually sounds interesting.
yeah, that's one of the things I described to one of my other friends who likes Gundam but never watched Code Geass. Essentially, Char, much like Lelouch, is of noble blood, out for revenge. The ends justify the means, and ends up changing the world for the better. Only difference is, Lelouch forever kind of doesn't like bloodshed. Char intends on blowing up part of Earth with a meteor.
Well, that's also the difference between someone being a purebred soldier
Yeah,
and Lelouch.
yeah.
He was a schoolboy, and
Yeah, not
High
to
school terrorists.
discredit Lelouch, but I kind of get the feeling if he was more loud being an actual military person, he would have gone full-blown villain.
Yeah, he would have.
yeah,
I think
His-
one of the things that kept his character in check was his lack of, I won't say military training, because he knew military tactics like
Yeah.
the back of his hand, but his lack of military combat training and proficiency really kind of kept him
There's
in
several
check.
times where amounts of death do kind of blue screen him,
Yeah.
which again makes him more likable in my opinion than Kira from Death Note, who just laughs at the bodies he makes.
yeah. Well, Lelouch laughed too at some point, but
He's kind of snapped then.
Yeah.
yeah,
For good
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
Very good reasons.
That actually brings up a really odd tangent I want to mention. It comes down to the English dub. Lelouch is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch. A lot of people in the West do not like Johnny Young Bosch's version of Zero, but the Japanese adore Lelouch's English laughter. Like when he snaps at one point and he's just laughing for a good solid.
I'm just going to say this. I adore Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh yeah, but
My only critique is I constantly hear Ichigo out of every character he plays.
I don't.
I
No,
don't.
that's just me. But what I was trying to say is there are many Japanese versions of that scene where he's talking in Japanese, but when he snaps and starts laughing, they input Johnny Young Bosch's laugh because it's much more manic. It's much more, oh shit, this guy's brain just went out the door. And that's one of the reasons why I don't hear Ichigo, because I can't hear Ichigo laughing like that. But Lelouch, that is Lelouch.
That's perfectly fine. I'm just saying, like, it's just how I see things and personal people. I'm sure there are other people out there to do the same thing.
Yeah. But the reason why I can't hear him, it comes down to another theme of Code Geass, which is the masks we wear.
Mm-hmm.
And Lelouch has 3 different masks and 3 different ways he talks. As Lelouch Lamproux, the proper student, he's soft and gentle. As Lelouch V. Britannia, he is sharp. He's snappy. He is quick-witted.
I think that's where I hear the Ichigo the most. Not so much as like the high brains, but just the quick to notice
But as
things.
Zero, he is pompous. He is boisterous. He is, everyone pay attention to me.
Yeah, that's where I hear Ichigo the least.
Yeah. I actually hear him the least in Lelouch Lamproux.
Mm.
Because that is, he is very meek in that form.
Yeah, but at the same time, when Ichigo's being nice to someone, I kind of where it comes from, but...
I've never watched Bleach in English, so
I prefer English. I don't really like his Japanese actor that much. Nothing against them, but
I don't
just
know.
don't. But yeah, Johnny Young Bosch is one of my favorite voice actors, and this is a really, like, I like to compare Vash the Stampede to Lelouch, and that's whoa, that are so far apart from each other.
yeah, it is. But they both put on masks.
Yeah, they do. And
Okay,
for-
well, quick question, if anybody can name this off the top of their heads.
Sure.
Who was Vash's voice actor?
Johnny. Why'd you ask that? That was, I kind of already, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of characters wear multiple masks, and one of my favorite scenes is a character breaking down about how many people have lied to her, and she just sees everyone wearing a mask, and the masks fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And another theme of the show is wearing a mask a good thing? Would the world be better if nobody lied?
Well,
My response is that is the exact same response Lelouch gives.
Watch the anime to find out.
Yeah, it's near the end of the show. It's near the end of season 2, and it's one of my favorite scenes because it essentially changes Lelouch's character for the better.
you don't have to tell me that when this podcast's over, because I forget.
I will. I'll just remind you that it ends up with a guy without legs flying at Lelouch to strangle him.
Sadly, you're going to be a bit more specific on that.
He was basically being Thanos out of reality.
I don't remember this enemy as well as I thought I did.
I just love that scene so goddamn much.
But we're getting close. We're at the 50-minute mark. And
So,
I don't think we'll be doing the show justice if we didn't at least try and bring up an issue or two.
Yeah,
We can go a little bit longer since we have a special guest, and I can always edit down a little bit, so we'll go a little bit longer than we usually do.
sure, but my biggest problem is the clamp art style in places because limbs don't bend that way. They're way too stretched out in places, and everyone looks so goddamn like if they sometimes I think if they turn sideways, they disappear.
I think the problem with that is that a lot of the models look exactly the same,
Yeah,
which I can understand maybe for simplicity and time saving is a method,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, go ahead. Keep going.
but in a certain extent there are some other models used, like D Hart was a bit bulkier than everybody else.
The Emperor had a very different model than everybody else.
Like the main characters, Lelouch had almost the same build as a lot of the other characters, main or otherwise.
Yes, especially Suzaku. When they stand side by side, without their different hair and skin tones, it's kind of hard to tell the two apart in the worst situations of it. If you're not paying attention, you just glance at the screen for a second.
But at the same time, they did use that to great effect.
Yes, they did, which ended up working very often when people had to be body doubles.
But I'm just saying, to find that many people that could be your body double, yeah, I mean, even the women could be Lelouch's body double.
In some situations, one was.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, the art style was a bit iffy in some places.
the mech design was good.
But
Oh, the mechs were gloriously built.
Yep.
yeah, well, wasn't it done by like their V team?
Yes, this was done by the Gundam B team. Yes.
Yeah, because at the same time they were doing Gundam Double O, I believe.
And both of them are some of the best mech designs out of all. So the A and B team were clearly like
Giving it their A game.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were.
But-
You wouldn't expect this fun coming from the B team.
No, you would not. And it's hilarious that Gundam 00 and Code Geass were oftentimes airing around the same time. And in Japan, people were diehard. Oh, Gundam 00 is the better show. Oh, Code Geass is the better show. And they went to, despite the fact it's made by the same company. Made
Now they're going to
both.
get to their mechs and they're going to fight over it.
So it didn't have as much funding as say Gundam Double O. So I think it done really well for how much funding it did have. Initially.
Yes.
Well, that might be one of the reasons why they had to spare so much with the models to try and save time and money.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I understand with.
But any other problems you guys have with Code Geass?
Well, I just want to say something. Just because we think something will be improved upon doesn't mean we don't understand that there are reasons why it had to be this way.
Exactly. There's usually a reason behind some flaws.
Some reasons there are, sometimes it's not a good enough excuse. It kind of depends on what it is.
Yep.
But I'm going to let CK go because, you know what my biggest pick about this series is.
Yeah.
Well, the contrast between the school life and all the stuff that Lelouch is doing. That it just seems like it doesn't mix well together. You just go from one to the other.
Yeah, they pretty much drop it in season 2, but they still make token nods to it, and you're like, we don't care.
Yeah, and
Well, the small thing I had with that is, I know Lelouch is a super genius, but my God, he is the best time management system ever.
yeah, but they actually do explain that because he does have some people to help him.
Yeah.
In season 2 at least.
I know, but it's just the funny thought is like, how well of time management are you? Like, did you predict things down to the microsecond?
Yes.
I mean, like,
Yes.
you consider like traffic, battles not going your way, the asshole getting stuck in traffic.
Yes.
What the fuck?
He has contingencies for everything. Batman is looking at Lelouch going, teach me, Senpai.
I also didn't like the character.
No,
Shirley.
Batman's
Oh, yes.
looking at Lelouch and saying you're overpowered.
I agree with CK about Shirley. She is not the worst in this show, but I don't think we'd lose anything without her.
Is she the one that calls him Lulu?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now in season
she has
one,
orange hair.
in season 1 she's okay, but after season 1, I don't really see the point to her anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Besides to make Lelouch really upset and try to kill one of his best agents.
the only reason I can still see her in season 2, and this is more it trying to play more to an actual real life scenario, is that just because the season your world technically changes, that doesn't mean the people around you are instantly gone.
Oh yeah. There's
So
clearly a reason why she's there, but at the same time.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, for the anime and the plot, no, she's not really detrimental to anything. But as his school life and just being a person that knows Lelouch, she's not just going to up and vanish just because from season 1 to season 2. There's no real reason for her as of yet.
To me, she just seems to be there for eye candy, because whenever you get a scene of her, she's in a swimsuit or some other sexual pose.
I'm okay with this.
Yes,
I mean,
but I like to have some character behind it. You know?
Oh, well, I'm just saying,
like...
I've known some people that have less character than she does, and they're real people, so...
But that's why I like Colin so much. She also gives us the eye candy in a lot of situations, but she is such a fleshed out character. And
I love her mech.
Yeah, Shirley just doesn't feel like a person to me.
No, she feels more like the Vapid Valley girl at worst. Like, there are points where I actually do like her. Like I said, season 1, she's a pretty good character there. But after that, she stops developing. Well,
and
I don't think she stopped. I don't think her plot stopped developing, if you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
But her role to the plot stopped developing.
Well, that could also be tied to her trying to be a more realistic person, because a person can take years to develop.
We're not. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Sol, but in terms of the show...
Yeah, I'm just...
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, it's one of those points where we see what they're doing, but because of the show, there should be more to it.
Yeah.
Well, the show had a lot of characters, and she was one of the ones that I felt...
Yeah.
Was on the chopping block a little bit. Though, in the movie, she is alive, because the movie series changed it so that she doesn't die.
I have not watched the 2 recap movies yet, because they're not in English, and I can't watch Code Geass in Japanese. It's too much, too fast for me to read.
Yeah, with as much dialogue as they throw at you, that does kind of...
My dyslexia just goes, nope, we're going to skip every 10th word.
Yeah, sorry for the spoiler there.
Oh, no, that's fine. I mean...
Yeah, that one slipped.
My biggest
This is the guy who on when I told him I watched the 3rd episode of Full Metal Alchemist, he spoiled nearly episode 40 for me. With what happens to Alphonse.
Look, I'll just tell you how the whole thing ends. It ends with the credits.
Boo.
Wasn't there an end scene at the end of the credits?
Yes, there was.
See,
and there was also a different end scene at the end of the credits when it first aired.
Yeah. We now know what the true ending is, though.
Neither one, because we made it into movies and they're continuing.
Yep.
That changed a lot of things. Like, Mao's not in the movies either, for example.
Oh, good. He was an interesting character, but he definitely was the closest thing to a filler plot they had in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
they cut him out. Right.
Did they cut him with a chainsaw?
Well, we have to watch the movies to find out.
Oh, boy!
My 2 biggest gripes is one we touched upon is the skating mechanics for the mechs. Because I'm like, technically this shouldn't work the way it seems to be.
Yeah.
I like the skating mechanics. They make them unique.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't make them unique, but my brain's just like... It basically pulls the hip-mounted things from Attack on Titan. My brain keeps going, that's not how that works, that's not how that works, that's not how that works.
It's only because it seems like it's just a rod coming from the back of the leg with one giant wheel on it.
The foot would still kind of get in the way.
And the weight, the physics going forward, it should fall back. How...
But as soon as they add wing packs to these mechs, that problem goes away, and you can just believe they can fly.
Yeah, anti-gravity's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your other problem?
Okay, this is going to involve spoilers, so if you don't want too much spoiled, you're going to have to skip this for a few minutes. Season 2 has the rebellion meeting the prince, who I can't think of his name at the moment.
Prince Schneisel.
It was Schneisel, okay. I want to say Sneasel, like the Pokemon, but I knew that was wrong.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Britannia.
Mm-hmm. And he knows Lelouch is Zero. He knows about the Geass power. And he flat out tells them, hey, you're all being mind-controlled. 2 things come up to this conversation that One, why would you believe your enemy for anything he's telling you?
Schneisel's charismatic. rolled
Two, if you're being brainwashed to do what you want to do in the first place, is that really brainwashing?
Yes.
But you were going to do it anyway.
Maybe you wouldn't have done it at that extreme.
Maybe
Well,
you would
part
have
of
been
the
more
reason-
extreme.
Part of the reason why they listened to him, though, was they were sent a video from one of the cameras that just died, just before he died, showing Zero ordering everybody to kill a bunch of children in that, to kill everybody in this village.
Yeah, the people in that village all had Geass powers, and Lelouch couldn't let them exist. They'd be too dangerous for him.
And I understand that, but my point is, like,
So at the time, they were questioning Lelouch's or Zero's motives, and then Snizel tells him about this.
Essentially, Schneisel is manipulating them beautifully, but I do agree that they quickly assume the worst rather than assume, is this data... I know this is from one of our mechs, but couldn't it have been doctored?
well, here's my thing. They don't check the video. They don't question Snizel, because obviously they know what he's getting out of this.
Yeah.
They don't... The turnaround, the 180 on Zero, after the God knows how long war they've been raging.
To be fair, he was pushing them a lot, and a lot of them were grumpy with him for a while.
Well,
Yeah,
Grumpy is fine.
Yeah. In addition to that, he gave them orders to search for Natalie and all the people that was wounded and everything else too. So that also turned him against Zero as well.
Yeah. There is reasons to it, but it does feel
but-
kind of...
It does kill kind of a little bit forced.
Well, here's okay. Let me rephrase this. Why did they so instantly join with Snizel, who's technically doing the same thing to their people? Why?
That part I don't have an answer for.
That's.
Yeah,
I
right.
think that's where the problem is. Instead of trying to form a third group to stand on their own, they immediately switched to the side they've been fighting all this time.
Well, because Schneisel is the good prince. He's not like the rest of Britannia. He's
And he's also planning a coup d'etat.
yeah.
Which I think he tells them.
He does tell them that he does have intentions of reforming the empire for the better. Still,
Which
they are buying his story very, very fast.
I think that's the problem, is that because this was near the end of season 2 and they're trying to wrap things up, I think they bought into this too quickly.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he had been planting seeds in earlier episodes.
You know what I think should have been done? Instead of doing it with everybody all at once near the end of season 2,
Yes. He should have been like contacting each one individually with proof that would make them believe.
and start with D-Hart so that he can go through the video,
Yeah.
prove that the video is not altered.
There's
Well, the video was given to him directly as that. They were fighting in battle at the time, and the person was recording part of the video at the time,
you're right.
and they sent it directly to the other person's Mac. There was no way it could have been altered, and it was being sent to Toto, I believe.
Well,
I forgot
I
forgot how instantaneous it was. My mistake.
but I can understand that, but still, someone's going to have to ask. I think the other thing is that nobody asked these questions.
Yes.
Whereas Intelligent at this show presents a lot of it, and as much dialogue as they throw into the show, sometimes they just leave the things unasked that make too much sense.
Yeah, it feels like we missed an entire meeting.
Yeah,
I think that's the
or
problem with
five.
is that meeting was either A, should have been more segmented to build up during the series, B, should have been longer to incorporate more questions to discuss both concerns from the rebels and why they should instantly go with Snizel, because everything Chris said is correct. I won't argue that. But even let's assume that Lelouch did hypnotize them, which he did not. I'm just going to say that right
Well,
now.
To be fair, he did on a few of them, but for like small micro commands. So
Yeah.
some of them did have black.
Let me rephrase that. Not to the degree Snizel's
Yes.
indicating.
Snizel should have even been into the room when they were questioning Zero at gunpoint.
No.
Snizel should have been back onto his ship. Maybe they could have, I don't know, communicated him in or something, but he should not have been in the room.
No.
And with, like I said, it just felt like the 180 on
Yeah.
Lelouch. While there was reasons to be disgruntled with him, you're also technically winning the war you've been raging with this man.
Yeah.
Despite this disgruntality, there's a reason why you stuck with him this long.
Yeah.
And
He-
you
at
knew.
several points in the show, to the Black Knights, he refers to himself as the devil. So he
And-
wasn't like hiding his "I'm kind of evilness." to
No,
them.
it's not like they're all innocent bystanders.
No.
There's not anyone there that has clean hands. They have cleaner hands than Lelouch by far,
Oh God, yes.
but to claim they're all innocent and just being manipulated the entire thing, it just seems too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
And as we
But
said,
I don't hate it as much as Soul does, because what happens after that is such a joyride of a part of the story that I'm willing to take this narrative leap with it. But if it was better written to get to that point, yes, I would prefer that.
Yeah. Same.
well, I still enjoyed the whole anime, and
Oh
This-
yeah, I know you
despite
do.
that hiccup, I enjoyed everything about it. But it's like you end with that one moment to some of the shows you watch.
Yeah.
It's always in the back of my head, and I'm just like,
Oh,
why?
no, I can agree. Just sometimes a plot point will latch onto your brain and just never go away.
Yeah, that's going to give us a lot to talk about with the third Godzilla movie from Netflix.
That movie confused me so much.
The movie, the show with giant fighting robots. We haven't been talking a lot about the giant fighting robots.
No, that is true. We should probably end on the mechs, because they are the highlight for all three of us.
Well, they're the highlight of the show, but they are not like the Gundam level of importance to the show in a sense.
No, there's several
Yeah.
mangas actually that take them out of the Code Geass story, and nothing's changed.
Yeah,
In fact, one of them is one of my favorite ones. Is they turned the Lancelot, Suzaku's main mech, into a battle suit he just wears as if he's a common rider.
You'll have to send me a link to that because I want to see that now.
Yeah, it's basically what if Suzaku was the main character.
There's
There's
I
another
heard
one.
about that one.
There's another one that turns the Zero armor also into a power suit that Lelouch just wears and fights giant robots as Zero.
Isn't there one where the guy has like a robotic arm?
Yes,
That's in the Code Geass world.
it's not either a robotic arm or a demonic arm. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
But the mechs are pretty unique design for Sunrise, and they make a lot of mechs.
Yeah, they're not Gundam big.
No, they're actually quite small.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like the step between no mech and Gundam.
Yeah, they're like what, like 3 stories tall? They're like King Kong size?
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller than King Kong, I want to say.
Yeah, 3 or 4 stories found there.
Yeah.
Yeah, around King Kong size.
No, I would say they're like 2.5 to 3 at most.
I think
there
it
are
also
couple-
depends on which mech, because I think some do get bigger.
There are some that are bigger. Like one of my favorite ones, the Gawain, is pretty big. It's towers over all the other ones.
I don't remember what hers was called, but I love Karen's.
The Gurn Mark II, and then the Gurn Mark II Sen.
Saitan.
Saitan,
But
yes, thank you.
At the same time, as much as I love it, having that one bigger arm just completely pisses me off, too.
Yeah, you've never won for asymmetrical design in your mechs. I know that.
It's just one of those things, like, I love it, but I'm like...
I'm fine with it because of the reason why that arm works. If they had both arms like that, that actually would probably throw off the balance pretty badly.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't argue that.
Because the arm is supposed to extend and grab onto something. If the other arm is just as big, that doesn't seem like...
But think of the cool jungle swing you can do in the city.
Eh.
Eh.
That's not that cool.
I play too much Spider-Man.
That's fair.
Personally, I like the Lancelot from Regal.
Yeah, the Lancelot is Suzaku's main mech.
What is the one from the movie where they made it CGI and it's so jarring?
Oh, the Alexanders.
Okay, I like the Alligator design. If they incorporate it into the 2D world,
Yeah,
I think that would be my favorite mech from the show.
I definitely want to say it's either the Gawain or Lelouch's final mech. I can never remember the name of it.
Didn't you have a mech called the Zangatsu?
No, that's Toto's.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name of Lelouch's fall one, but it has this giant refracting laser cannon that.
Oh, that thing.
But at the same time, I just like the Gawain's hovering, like its arms are stretched out, and it has shoulder cannons.
Didn't it also have like a giant energy shield?
Yeah, that his second one did. Yeah, and it was controlled by a piano. Because whenever he uses the keyboard, it plays piano music. So I like to think that the Lelouch is just
Didn't
a
CC
pianist
also have like a backseat to that thing?
Shinkuro,
What was that?
I think.
Sinkuro. Thank you.
Yes.
That's Lelouch's now personal mech, which also has a submarine mode, which he
Yes.
rarely used in the show.
Of course it does.
And I
It's
just
for
like-
traveling.
Yeah, I just liked mechs that can transform. I'm a sucker for.
I'm just waiting for it to turn into a limo just so it can hide in plain sight.
Now I'm just picturing Lelouch with transformer technology and how much more dangerous he'd be.
I picture him as Fat Man.
Now I'm picturing him as Batman, but him firing the grappling hook and the recoil knocks him on his head.
Now I'm just picturing him putting the pointy ears on his helmet.
His helmet already is pointy.
Now it's pointier.
What are you, like a four-horned bat? Yes. Who would his Robin be?
CC.
Colin.
No, we got multiple Robins.
We have the Bat family.
Yes!
Oh my god, not only could it be his Oracle.
Wait, who's Jason Todd?
Suzaku.
Yep.
I can live with that.
His Damon would be Rolo.
Which one's Rollo?
The one who poses as his brother with the time stop eye.
Yeah, we didn't mention the guy's powers either, really.
They're not that important. They're cool, but they're not part of the show. Plus, one of them's a major spoiler.
Yeah.
One of Lucius' goals was to eliminate the Geass doll.
Mostly because they are overpowered, but really,
It's because he despises his own power.
yeah.
Part of the reason why he does what he does at the end.
Yeah, but he despises it because he have it or because he's losing control over it?
He despises that he has it.
He despises it itself for how evil it is, like taking control of other people's wills and freedoms.
And all the destruction it causes with him making one mistake.
Yeah, he recognizes it as evil, but he still uses it to get to a good end.
Mostly because he's the kind of guy who's literally said, I will commit evil to kill evil.
Yeah, but at the same time, that kind of leads to the misthought that the power itself is evil. I don't believe that.
You don't. He does.
I'm just saying. I just for the show's sake, I just want to mention that.
That's totally fair. I mean, I personally think it's just too much power.
Now, too much power I can agree with, but it's not like the power is saying do evil, make this person kill themselves.
No, it's not. But the temptation would be far too great for most people.
Yes, and I can agree to that.
So I think it's safer to dismantle that.
I don't disagree on that point. I just don't. I hate. It's kind of like the Kamen Rider thing that you have, Em, with Kamen Rider Ichigo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Power itself is not evil to me.
Yeah.
The intent behind power, yes. Now, can there be evil power? Yeah, like say a demon's giving you power, but it's influencing you to do evil. Yes.
Speaking of which, it's kind of hinted the Geass power might be demonic in nature. In the OVA, at least.
I have no idea.
A floating skull gives someone a Geass.
What, you got something against skulls now?
It pretty much is a very demonic voice it has. It's surrounded in flames. I think it only comes about because the guy kills a lot of people.
Well, then again, you're also going by diabolical. Like, does this world believe in Satan?
They never actually mentioned religion in this world, did they?
I think once, and it was kind of like a second thought, and nobody ever went back to it.
Yeah, I think the Darwinism nature of Britannia tried to wipe out religion or something like that, but I can't, not 100% sure.
The one thing I can agree with him on.
Yeah, me too.
Too bad the rest of it is all dicks.
Yeah. But is there anything else you guys wanted to add about Code Geass?
Well, it has, as you mentioned, an OVA, a couple of different mangas.
A lot of
And
mangas.
I think, as you said earlier, that one of the major things that work is that you can change a couple of things about it, but still retain the political process, the show as a whole, and the characters themselves. It's not defined by a certain criteria.
Yeah, it's not defined by the mecha. It's more focused on the politics and that, and
I mean, there
different
are.
moralities, different points of view.
Mhm. I mean, there
There
are
are
points that
that are
define the show that if you take will ruin the show.
Yeah,
But
and there are several mangas that change the main character. I can't think of one that made Colin the main character. There's one that makes Nunnally the main character.
that was Lucia's sister, right?
Yeah, that's his,
Yes.
Okay.
that's his crippled little sister. Yes. So, and I think there's one that follows C2's backstory before the show, but there's none that makes Colin the main character. So I want that next.
Well, would that work?
Yeah, it would. I honestly think it would. It would give us a very different opinion because for a while she worships Zero.
Yeah, that is true.
That would be a very
Yeah.
different take. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I think she's one of the few people that had the bigger issue with the sudden 180 at the meeting.
Yeah, because she's by that point kind of aware of what's going on. But she's also like, well, Colin's always had a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lelouch did tell her to basically live to get it, and basically said a bunch of stuff to try to get her to move away from him, so that
Yeah.
she would have better odds.
And even in the end, she still is one of the few people to actually miss Lelouch.
Yeah.
So.
We also never talked about Orange Boy.
Oh yeah, I love Orange.
Orange is one of my favorites too.
The guy who was supposed to die in the early episodes, but the fans loved him so much they brought him back as an epic cyborg.
Yep.
And Soul's face is he's trying to remember who Orange is, and I'm very disappointed in you, young man.
No, I'm trying to remember where the orange came from, because I remember once you said the cyborg, I remember, but I'm trying to remember what the joke with the orange is.
Because in a public event where Lelouch has the entire town held captive with a bomb, he basically says, "You'll let us through if you want to, for the sake of Orange." And then he geasses him, and he's like, "Orange is just a code word he threw out for random sake to make everyone think that he's in bed with the rebellion."
Oh,
So he never shakes the name of Orange for the rest of his life.
That's what I forgot.
And at the very end of the show, he owns an orange farm. That part just slew me.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Because Orange went from a derogatory term to a term his master gave him to a thing he now cares for.
Must care for orange. Must care for orange.
Well, the one thing I want to mention before we quit is the soundtrack. Like, not the opening theme songs. They're meh.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But the internal songs of the combat, or Lelouch's speeches, or any general action scenes, they are phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what show it was. I think it was Voltron. That we discussed that they had the subtle music done right.
Geass has bombastic music done right.
Yes.
Yep.
Like
The music really fits the state of Britannian Empire.
Yeah, because I think the show either it has the bombastic timing music, or it just has bland music. In my opinion, it doesn't do the subtle music that well.
No,
but for as grandstanding as everything comes off this show, the bombastic movie just blows everything else out of the water.
you were saying today?
Like you know who we were focusing on based upon the music.
Yeah,
Like you had the Regal music for the Britannians and that.
Yep.
Easily.
You've got Lelouch's plotting music, so you know he's up to something. You've got You've got Colin's theme. She has a theme whenever she does something really fucking badass in her mech.
Yeah,
So
everyone pretty much has a theme with this, don't they?
Yep.
So when you hear that, you know someone's gonna get their mech melted.
I mean, even the melody at the where shit hit the fan with the princess. That was.
Oh yeah.
I think that just drove it home all the more.
Yep.
Yep.
So all in all, I can never stop recommending Code Geass to everyone I know who has the slightest inkling in either in anime with deeper story or just want to see giant robots.
I will say this. If I'm trying to give someone something that's a bit more food for thought about... trying to think of how I want to put this delicately, and I probably just don't want to. Between rebellion, terrorism, political agendas, it's going to be between this, Code Geass, Iron-Blooded Orphans, or maybe even Double O. Maybe. I have mixed feelings on that one.
That's fair.
But
Yeah.
the two main ones that come to mind for something like that as of this recording would be Code Geass or Iron Blooded, because I think they both handle the no-win scenario and the gray areas exceptionally well.
And if you're looking for a little bit more serious, I think I'm Blood. But you're looking for a few more funny moments and, funny moments in that, and a little bit,
Of a happier ending.
yes,
Yeah.
a happier ending.
Now,
Then I would go with Code Geass.
yeah,
Agreed.
I think that's one of the
Agreed.
things. It depends what the person's looking for, but even despite the goofiness or maybe the too seriousness of Iron Blooded, it has the tone setting.
Yes. These two are... Iron-Blooded Orphan and Code Geass are much closer to each other than Code Geass and Gundam 00 are, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up liking 00 slightly more than Iron-Blooded.
Iron Blood is still my favorite to date.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm Blood is pretty good.
It also features Johnny Young Bosch as both of the characters' main technical genius.
But if you had to ask me to pick between the two, me personally, I'll go Iron Blooded.
Myself,
fair.
I would go Code Geass.
Mm-hmm.
M?
I would definitely say Code Geass.
Now, is that for the
And-
characters or?
Definitely because of the characters. I
Okay.
find the characters I mean, I like two or three of the characters from Iron Blooded a lot, but the rest of them I can't remember.
Fair enough. I just
Yeah.
CK,
But I can
is it the characters for you also, or is there some other setup?
Mostly the characters, I say. I do like the political issues, the grounds, and that, the Explorer versus Suzaku and Lelouch.
Mm-hmm.
They're so looking for the same goal, but doing different means and things of that nature.
For me, it's actually because of Lelouch.
Oh?
I admit Lelouch is an awesome character. Do not get me wrong.
Okay.
But it's his perfect planning.
I get you.
I kind of like the at the last minute situation going wrong thinking that Orga has that I like a little bit better. He
That's
plans
fair.
ahead, but it's with limited resources. Lelouch plans need a lot of resources
Yeah.
and a lot of detail.
Yep.
And part of me, despite the things, is thinking, where does this go wrong at?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
That's
because there's no little instance of things going wrong, it's at one of those small nagging moments for me.
That's totally fair. I mean, everyone's suspension of disbelief can lift different things.
But I enjoy them both, and I'll enjoy either one rewatching.
Yes, I can completely agree with that critique, comparing the two. So I guess we should probably let CK free now.
Do we have to? We can use it for another
freedom.
episode.
I know, he's really good, and I would like to have him here more often, so
I will say this one, folks. Once M is able to finish watching Dragon Ball Super,
Yeah.
and it'll probably be another multi-part series,
Yeah.
we will be doing Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super. And to which I give a perfectly good invite to CK, Chris, whatever you want to be called, to come and join us for any one of those possible 4 to 8 episodes.
It'll be the longest 5 minutes of our lives.
Planet is still there.
Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go start charging my key for this.
And thanks for joining us again, buddy. It was nice having you here.
Thanks. Now, can I
And
go?
thank you, everyone, for listening.
Now, before you go, I need more anime recommendations, man. I'm running low. Give me another fix. Give me another fix.
Have you watched Reincarnation? My Life Reincarnated as a Slime?
I was going to, but I watched Solo instead last night. I'm going to watch Reincarnation of
Oh
Slime.
shit! I meant to watch that.
It's pretty good.
All right, I will.
It kind of reminds me of Over.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
But
Perfection is within my hands. Or grass. Damn it! I almost had it right.